You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
It's a cold morning in Texarkana. We actually got snow this last week. How about that? It snows 2 days in Texarkana, and now we've hit the quota, which makes me happy. It's early in the year and we hit the quota. We're done.
Oh boy. Was it 34 there, Joe?
It was rain, snow, rain, snow, rain, snow.
I woke up to 11 this morning, so I don't want to hear it.
It's 21 this morning. That's respectable. 21.
I'll give you that.
It's supposed to be a high here on Monday morning of 53 degrees today.
Yeah, winter. So, I mean, winter sucks in Texas. It's like
it's horrible.
At least 3 or 4 straight days.
I got to zip up my coat like halfway. You've no idea the pain.
Well, I am so stressed about it. I am going to the Caymans in a day and a half. So you guys enjoy this little party. And I'm going to go sit on 7 Mile Beach and drink champagne and
OG getting into character right out of the chute.
It's our annual trip. We try to go every year to this little
food
and wine festival. As it were.
Sounds fantastic. You know what else sounds fantastic? The fact that the men and women of our military,
men and women patrolling the Gulf of America to make sure the Caymans are safe.
On behalf
Too soon?
of the Men and Women Making Podcast in Mom's Basement and the men and women at Navy Federal Credit Union, big Monday salute to our troops. Thank you for all that you do.
Mickey mug too.
How about that? It is Mickey Mouse Mug Day.
It's Mickey Day.
Cheers, everybody. Let's go stack some Benjamins together now, shall we?
You heard of this thing, the 8-minute abs?
Yeah, sure, 8-minute abs. Yeah, the exercise video.
Yeah, well, this is going to blow that right out of the water. Listen to this. 7-minute abs.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and so far this year, we've helped you grow your income, cut your spending, and define your purpose. And it's not even February. So are you ready to take control of your life? Today's mentor is the perfect man to do that. He's financial author, speaker, and educator, Anthony O'Neill. Plus, in our headline, what technology will influence your life in 2025? Bill Gates, Sam Altman, and others predict the future, and we're here to share what it means to you. And I can assure you that no AI or robots were used in the making of my incredibly amazing trivia segment. And now, 2 guys who think keeping up with the Joneses is just a great way to burn through your emergency fund. It's Joe and G.
Hey there, stackers, and happy Monday. Welcome back to the Stacking Benjamin Show. I am Joe Saul-Sehy, and I'm super happy to welcome back to the microphone after a glorious weekend away. Mr. OG is here. How are you, my friend?
Sorry, I was just, Doug was yelling so much. Hurt my sensibilities. Good Lord. Tone it down a little bit.
Did the open change?
Indoor voice, bro. Indoor voice.
Doug, we got him already.
Have you ever heard me open before? It's literally what I do every time.
We got him back again on a Monday. Have you noticed how much hair I've lost lately? And people wonder why. We got a great show today, gentlemen. OG, we've got Anthony O'Neill back.
Nice.
How about that? Former Ramsey personality, financial educator. He is upstairs talking to Mom right now because it's time to take control of your life.
Time to take
As
control.
He talks about Yeah, get a seat at the table, he talks about, and he'll define what that metaphor means. But OG, have you ever thought that it might be time to take control of your life?
No, I appreciate chaos. We were talking about this earlier. Chaos is what makes the world go around. If everything was easy, we'd all be lazy. So,
I thought it was time for Doug and I to have the intervention. Like, you came down to the basement and sat down. You didn't notice we were sitting here staring at you. OG, we'd like to talk to you about your life decisions.
Yeah.
I've been blocking the door the whole time.
Well, that's because you won't stay away from the Oreos, but that's a whole different thing. So let's review what, Doug, you mentioned earlier about 2025. If you're like me, there's a lot you want to do in 2025. So we began with make more money. Let's talk about why we began there, because in our Facebook group, The Basement, there were a couple of people that were like, well, you got to make sure that you manage your money before we even got to step 2. So we will tell you how these dominoes play out. You and I know, OG, that a big problem people have is we initially cut, right? We make cuts and we make cuts and we make cuts. And yet we can't shrink our way to greatness. We forget the thing that actually might be more fun and also is a thing that can allow us to keep maybe a bigger budget. And that is, how do we make more income? Like, how often have you had to tell people, you know what, I think we need to just make more money?
I mean, it happens probably, I bet out of the conversations that I have, 60% of the time, 70% of the time, there's only so much that you can do, short of like taking the drastic sell everything in the Dave Ramsey thing, right? Like, oh, you screwed up. You've got a little too much ahead of your skis. Just sell everything and restart. And that's a solution, I think, that you can have in your back pocket if you absolutely need to. Hit the reset button. But for most people, I just don't see that as a logical conclusion of like, oh, I'm a little overextended, or, my costs have increased higher than I expected they could or would, and my income hasn't, or I had a bad year of sales, and so my bonus isn't as much as it used to be. The answer isn't necessarily like, just sell everything and start over. It's like, well, how do I make a little bit more money? How do I leverage the skills that I have, whether it's having a second income or a side hustle or parlaying it into, some sort of self-employment.
This is clearly for us beginning the year with this rubric. Let's work on making more money first, which is why we had the 2-episode Alex Hormozi interview, a guy who's made tons of money. But then to the point of one of our wonderful family members in our Facebook group who said, you can end up the way that Joe talked about that he was in the 90s. And I totally was. I was always like, hey, if I just make more money, that's it. That's why we followed it up with, it isn't about just making more money. It's also about what you keep. And I love then we talked to frugality. I'm going to call them experts. They have the Frugal Friends podcast, Jen Smith and Jill Sirianni, and then followed that up with values, right? Because then aligning this money that comes in with what do I really value? Or am I just wasting money? So many times, OG, I would talk to people that are just blowing cash on stuff they just don't care about. And you're like, why are you spending money on that? It means nothing to you. Like, stop spending money on this crap that truly is doing nothing for your life. That I would have to imagine also for you is the second conversation then that you have.
Well, I think when it comes to expense management, at the end of the day, everything does count there, short of selling everything and starting over. If you are just very intentional about it, and we go through this in our lives, during different periods of time. This is the beginning of the year. It's always kind of a reset for everybody. So it's a reset for us too. And, you resync all of the accounts on Monarch, make sure everybody's got the logins. And I'm literally looking at it every single day, watching all the different transactions. And most of the time, we're pretty established in terms of our rhythm. I know when the mortgage is due and the insurance payment comes out. And, it's like I kind of got that vibe. I know when those things are going to happen. But watching it happen in real time, and there's, in Monarch anyway, there's a nice little chart that like shows your spending throughout the month. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, we're sitting here on the 9th of the month, and I'm going, holy crow. Is this the pace?
Let's ease it back.
Or is this like,
he's like bringing the reins
it just like
in?
There's a lot of stuff at the beginning, you just got to, but it also helps from a cash flow standpoint, understanding that, hey, I can't go into the beginning of the month with $5,000 in the bank if the first 3 days of the month have $10,000 of expenses. Just gives you some observational things that you can think about.
I don't know, Doug. Sounds like a great freaking year. $10,000 the first 4. Like, we're going to rock this year.
Let's go.
No, I'm saying at the beginning of the month. Like if you say my budget is 10,000 a month, but 5,000 of those expenses come out in the first 3 days, you can't start the first of the month with $2 or $3 grand in the bank. You're going to be upside down by 3,000 by the second day of the month.
100%.
Even if the cash flow works out.
And I'm saying, I don't want to be around you long term, but while that party's going on short term, I want to be in the middle of it. Because, hey, if it's a spending spree, I'll help.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not in a spending spree right now. I'm trying to not be anyway. I think it's just important just to, when you have good information, you can make good decisions. You know, how many times, and Joe, you know this from before when you were an advisor, it's like, how many times did you say like, well, what's your budget? How much do you spend on da-da-da-da-da? And people be like, I don't know, $500 on groceries. And you're going, family of four, $500 on groceries? Are you sure about that? That doesn't seem.
And then you have them track it. You have them track it for 2 months and they're like, holy.
This was a high month. It was 1,100. Like, okay, well, what's next month? Oh, 1,100. And what's the month after that? 1,100. Well, it wasn't a high month. That's just the number. You know, that doesn't make it right or wrong. It just gives you the information in order to make a good decision. Maybe that's a lever that you want to focus on, or maybe it's not, but at least it gives you the data from which you can make good decisions.
Yeah, I actually want to rewind a little bit to something you said earlier, Joe. First, I think our listeners' heads are spinning because you opened the curtain and let them know we have a rubric. Like there's a plan to what we're doing this year. And they're like, what? Get out of here. You guys have no idea what you're doing when you turn on the mics.
Is that new?
Right. It's been 14 years? I've seen zero evidence of pre-thought at all. Yeah, we started out the year with Alex Hormozy and earning more. And we have talked about that before. And I think pretty consistently we can plan on people pushing back and getting annoyed when we talk about or bring on guests that talk about earn more. Because it's painful. That feels painful. Like I'm doing everything I can right now to earn what I can earn. I don't have any more time to earn more. And you just don't want to. And we've also talked about how you can't save your way to a new lifestyle or save your way to kind of a whole new financial you. You can improve things incrementally, but you're not going to make the big jumps doing that. And it just makes me think of analogy that a former mentor used with me that said, everybody wants the pill to get to better health. We want whatever that thing is that's easy to take with a glass of water. Sometimes you need the shot or you need the surgery and it's painful, but you have to sometimes go through that discomfort to get to the next level. Because if you're not doing the little stuff you need to do to get a little side gig that's maybe a little less painful, or to do these incremental savings things that OG's talking about, it's going to get painful. So figure out how you can do the little things now, whether it's small side gigs or things you can do to improve the income side, and the same thing on the savings side, so that you don't need the major surgery.
I was telling you guys before we jumped on today, I've never received so many emails about episodes like I did the Alex Hormozy episodes. So many wonderful emails from all of you going, what a wild departure. And it was so in depth. It was so good. I took so many notes, just absolutely gratified by the number of people that jumped on that. But of course, Doug, to your point, I think one of the first things we received on that, and we received very little negativity, but it was a negative comment going, I just got to,
I'm so tired of hearing people say, I just need to earn more.
Right. Well, and it's like Doc G saying people got upset with him, right? In his interview last week, people got upset with him when he was talking about purpose because it freaks people out. To your point, exactly, Doug. It's incredible. So now that we've talked about earning more, and then let's talk about what's the purpose of that spending and where we kind of headed. Anthony O'Neill today used to not be in charge of his life, which is why I wanted him to come next, because he's going to explain how he wasn't in charge. But he's going to talk about creating your own seat at the table, because if you're not working on your priorities, you're working on somebody else's priorities. By definition, you're working on somebody else's priorities. So by the end of 2025, with all three of these parts intact, right? The earning, the spending, and what are our priorities, and we're in charge of our destiny, we're going to be there. Anthony O'Neill, if you don't know who he was formerly a Ramsey personality, working with that guy in Tennessee. Today, he's rocking an amazing YouTube channel, teaching money and responsibility across America. And of course, today he's on the Stacking Benjamin Show. Anthony O'Neill coming up next. Before that, though, we have some sponsors that make sure that this is free for you so that you don't have to pay for great mentors like Anthony O'Neill. We're going to hear from them, and then Anthony O'Neill teaching us how to grab a seat at the table. In business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. And here he comes down the stairs. Have a seat, man. Anthony O'Neill is here. How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing so good, Joe. How about yourself, brother?
I'm doing really well. Happy New Year to you. You obviously are a guy who's very goal-oriented. You're very intentional about what you do. What are your goals for 2025 look like?
Man, my main goal this year is I am actually back in school to get my executive MBA in church economics and management. And so my main goal this year is to finish that. I will be done December 16th of this year. So I will have my bachelor's and I will have my master's. I'm really excited about that because, I started out, if anyone remembers my story from the very beginning, I started out as a college dropout, making some bad decisions. And so now that I have my MBA throughout this year as well, I will have the opportunity to be an adjunct professor teaching freshmen and sophomores financial management. I'll be teaching them how to budget, how to save, how to invest, how to stack them Benjamins like you. And so, I'm really, really excited about that. But that's really the main goal for this year is, of course, keep the company going, get this book out there to help a lot of people. But the thing I'm most excited about is just really completing my degree because let's be honest, I didn't have a degree. So then now a lot of people could discredit my thoughts when it comes to money because I didn't have the formal education. But now all they can do is just disagree, but they can never discredit me because I put in the work, not only practically, but I also have the education behind me. So I'm really excited about that. Then to add that I'll be an adjunct professor behind my credibility. I just think that's going to be amazing, man. So I'm really excited about that, Joe.
A professor, like you're going to be bald by like me when it's all over, Anthony. I don't know that you want.
I'm starting to get a little bit of gray hair, man. Right here in the middle patch. I don't know if you people could see me, but it's starting to get there. But man, I hope I don't go bad.
Well, a professor with gray hair, by the way, too. I mean, that's good. That means logic, you're in charge. Gray's not bad. I remember that when I was first started off as a financial planner, I had this baby face where people would always disguise their question around how old am I to, so how long you been doing this? Because I think I look like I was 13 when I started at age 27.
Yeah, man.
But I didn't know this. I remember your story from last time. We'll link to the first time that you were here a few years ago.
Yeah.
But what I don't remember was I never knew you were homeless. I don't think I ever knew you were homeless. Like, how did that happen?
Well, it was honestly right around school. So I had made some real bad decisions when I first went to school. I had my father's GI Bill, and I had a partial scholarship from the National Forensics League, and just really made some bad decisions in school. And I come from a very strong Christian faith home. And so once you make a decision out there at a grown age, my parents like, well, hey, since you think you're all that, you got everything situated, then you go do that and you go live on your own. And man, I made some poor decisions. So my family didn't allow me to come back home. Well, technically my father's. My mother's was all like, yo, come home, come home. But my dad's was like, yeah, nah, man, since you think you're a grown man, go live that. And so my family thought I was living with my girlfriend at the time. Well, they didn't know that me and my girlfriend had broke up because she went back to another man, that's a whole nother story.
Oh, man.
And so everyone's thinking I'm taken care of. But the truth of the fact was, no, I was homeless for a short period of my time. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was for a long period of time. It wasn't that long. It was a couple of months, few months. I was taking showers at the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA during the week, freshening up in the cars during the weekend, and just trying to make life happen, man. But I tell this to everyone. It's probably one of the worst seasons of my life, but probably also one of the best seasons of my life that really helped develop me into the man who I am today. I'm grateful for that season. I'm grateful that I got out of that season, because during that season, Joe, man, I thought about completing suicide. I thought about questioning my relationship with God. Like, how can God put me here, homeless? Man, I questioned all these things, and I realized that it wasn't God. It wasn't my parents. It wasn't even my friends who I was trying to impress. It was me. I made those bad decisions. I wasn't taking control of my life. I wasn't sitting at the head of my own table. I was allowing others to tell me what to do, tell me how to do things and why I should do things, rather than taking the seat at the reign of my own life and determining my own path. Technically the path that God put out for me. So,
well, talk about seat at the table, Anthony. I mean, you would have given anything, I think, just for a table. I mean, you've got people telling you whether you can eat or not, because if somebody gives you the handout that you need to make it to the next meal, then you're fine. If they don't, then you don't. I mean, you're so not in charge, I got to imagine, in that situation.
No, totally agree. When you are, take it off from me and put it on everyone.
Sure.
When you are at the place of everyone tells you what to do. Everyone tells you what time you need to be to work, what time you can get off, what time you can go to lunch, how to pay your bills, if you can go to your kids' game, the food you can eat. Like, if you're in that place of life to where it's like, man, I can't decide if I want to work there. No, I have to work there because I have to pay back all these bills. I can't decide if I want to go to my kids' game because I have to go pay these bills. So I got to choose between the two. Do I want to pay the bills, or do I want to be a great mom and a supportive dad? No, I got to go pay the bills, because if I don't pay the bills, then my kids won't have nowhere to go play and less to eat. During my life at that time, man, I realized that, man, I'm not taking control of my life. I'm not doing it at all. And that's what I mean when I say take a seat at your table. The table is a metaphor for your life. Take a seat and take control of your life. No one should dictate what you're doing, how you're doing, when you're doing it, and whom you're doing it with. That should be solely between you and, if you're a Christian like myself, God.
You say that we all have the ability to get there, and yet most of us are poor stewards for our life. I think that's a direct quote, that we're poor stewards. How are we poor? Why are we? Well, I wouldn't even say how are we poor stewards, because you and I and all of our stackers, we know we're poor stewards. Mm-hmm. Why are we so bad? We all know if I get up and I do something with 2025, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
And we know we want to be at the head of our own table. Why are we such poor stewards of our time?
Let me tell you why. It goes back to the very first question, what you said, because me and you, we know what stewardship is, but I believe that a lot of people do not understand the meaning of stewardship. And stewardship simply means it's not yours. You're just called to manage it well. And as a Christian, I firmly believe that this life is not mine. I'm just called to manage this opportunity in this season that I have on this earth well. So we can't steward something if we don't know what stewardship actually means.
And once we have your definition, not to cut you off, once we have your definition, I feel like then we realize we've been given this gift and this responsibility.
So everything that God has put on the inside of you with your podcast, like, you're helping thousands of people really get right with their Benjamins. What if you would say, you know what, I'm going to go get a job and just work a job and not do the podcast, not be a financial planner, but I'm going to go out here and just work in a call center just so I can pay bills. Well, that's you not being a good steward of your life, because God fearfully and wonderfully made you to help people like myself, to help people who are listening. And so everyone has to understand that you were created for a purpose. There is a purpose. There's an assignment. There is something for you to do. And if you don't take the seat at the head of your life and understand that, then you're never going to reach your full potential. Now, watch this. I'm not saying that if you're working a job, you're not taking control of your life. No, What I'm saying is, if God has called you to that job, you need to be there. Because if he called you to work a 9 to 5, if he called you to be the vice president, if he called you to be the supervisor and you're trying to be the CEO, you're not being a good steward of your life and you're not going to hit your full potential. So it's really about stepping back and understanding, what is my assignment? What is my purpose? What is my being? Where am I supposed to be? And be there and watch how things open for you. Me and you both talk about wealth building. And the reason why I came out my first book out on my own, when they go Take a Seat at the Table, is because I could teach the principles of how to get out of debt. I could teach you how to invest. You could do that well. But if me and you are being honest, I can teach you the steps. But if I don't help you see things differently, mentally, spiritually, and practically from your life in general, you're never going to succeed where you need to be financially. Because if I can help you get more money, but then you owe all this debt, it's just coming one end and it's coming out the other end, but it's not being fruitful in your life.
You're serving Citibank and not yourself.
That's it. I mean, and think about it. Nearly 80% of us are serving Citibanks. We're serving Bank of Americas. And I'm not knocking those banks, because we all need checking accounts, savings accounts, and access to funding to get homes, right? But here's the thing. You should not work Monday through Friday. Get up every single day, get your kids ready for school, drop them off at the bus station, stand in that long line. Man, I had to take my nephew to school the other day. And I got there late. So I stood in line for an hour just to take my nephew to school. Then I had to pick him up, and no one told me, hey, bro, you might want to go ahead and get there like 30 minutes early to get in line. Because if you don't, you will be there for an hour, hour and a half. Picking up your kid. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, wait, say what? And so you're doing all this to get your kids picked up, to get your kids dialed in. You're working a job that half of the people really don't want to work. You're dealing with people you really don't want to deal with. Why in the world are you dealing with all of that? For someone else to tell you what to do with your life. For someone else to take all of the fruit of your labor, and then you get the leftovers. So they're getting the steak, they're getting the macaroni and cheese, they're getting the potato salad, they're getting the collard greens, and then you get the leftovers of whatever they didn't want or whatever they couldn't take at that time. And it should be the opposite way around. If I'm taking the seat at the head of my life, man, I'm getting a steak. I'm getting the macaroni and cheese. And you know what, Bank of America, I owe you all a little bit of potato salad. Here go your potato salad. But I'm getting that. My family's getting that. My legacy is getting that. But I still got to pay bills. I still got to go to work. Like, my job is not going to get the most of my time of my life. My family will get the most of my time of my life. And so I think that's when we could take the seat at the head and understand, yo, this is my life. And I say this, and you got to cut me off, man, because I'm a black preacher. You know, it's black preacher. Keep going. And so cut me off whenever you need to. This is your show. But it's like, I remember this, man. My young lady friend, her and I went to lunch, and her husband was supposed to meet us, but she sat down. And when she sat down, it was at Starbucks, and she said, hey, yo, my boss just told me what I need to do. I was like, what did he tell you? She was like, well, he told me that I need to be this by this time next year. I need to be this by this time next year. And within 7 years, I could be in a position to be an executive VP of the company. I was like, okay, that's what's up. She said, yeah. But then he also said, if I want to go there, I'll be making about $150,000 to $200,000 a year. I also can't have any kids. And so I leaned back in my chair and I said, so did he ask you, what did you want? She was like, no. I said, well, do y'all want kids? She said, yeah, my husband is saying he would like to start having kids about a year and a half. And so let me get this straight. Your job never asks you, hey, how can we best partner together? How can this be a win-win on both sides? But instead, they told you, this is what we need from you, and we don't care about your life and your desires. And she was like, I didn't think about that. I said, yeah. I said, no, darling, you're not sitting at the side of your life. You're not on the sidelines of your life. No, you are sitting at the head of your life. You're the VIP. You're the head coach. You make the decisions. And so if you want kids within the next 2 years, you need to tell them, hey, we're going to have kids in the next 2 years. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to be a great team member here, but you're not going to tell me what to do with my life to benefit you at the cost of my pain. No. And so make a long story short, man, she said, you're right. She stood up and she took back reign of her life. And they had a baby a year and a half later. And because the company was trying to talk her out of it, she quit the job and started her own business on the side.
Fantastic. You know what I like best about that? I feel, and this is great that it's the start of a new year, Anthony, when people are really thinking about this stuff, is the fact that I feel like we're always waiting for our boss to train us better. We're always waiting for our boss to tell us. Like at first, hearing that story at the beginning, as you know, most of our stackers thought, wow, what a gift. He's telling us exactly what we got to do to reach the top. But why are we letting that person sit at the head of our table? Why are we doing that? I never understand why somebody, like nobody wakes up every day and goes, I want to suck at work tomorrow. But how often do we go to the library, or do we go to libraries anymore? Do we go to the library? Do we look up on our phone? Do we look up anywhere? Like, how can I be better at this role that I'm at so I can give it the best that I can and be the best, not employee for you or for anybody else, but for me? Like, why, it just drives me crazy. Why we don't create our own curriculum. Speaking about going to school, why we don't create our own curriculum to get there drives me crazy. I do have a question, which is, so right now for her, there's somebody else, this guy was sitting at the head of her table. Mm-hmm. In all of our lives, if we're sitting here driving down the road, listening to you and me, they're like, oh, well, so-and-so, how do you move the people that are at the head of your table now out of there? Because obviously, maybe I got to make waves, but if I can do this, I'm thinking of Sun Tzu, the best battle's the one that's never fought, right? Yeah. What is the way to get to the head of my table and remove the people that are there now?
Joe, this is a good question, man. I think for me, I recently had to do this. And honestly, I did this in December coming into 2025. But we got to sit down and we got to have a clear, written, detailed vision on where we're going. So for an example, I know in 2025, as a single man who is dating, right? I know in 2025,
clearly have never dropped kids off at school before.
Never. Never. I know for a fact that this year is going to be a crucial year for me because I'm back in school. I'm in school. We're in evening classes on Mondays and I think Thursdays for this particular semester. I'm running a business and I got to record 2 days a week. I'm launching a book and then writing my next book that will come out next year. That's going to be my money book, right? Now, since I laid down a foundation and take your seat at the head of your table, now I'm talking about money coming out in October 2026. Hopefully I can get invited back on to talk about that book.
I don't know, man. It's a minute by minute.
And so for me, I wrote the vision. This is what I'm focused on throughout the year 2025. Watch this. I identified people who do not align with that. Even as a man who was dating my single world, I'm like, hey, listen, this is the vision of where I'm going. And if you can align with this vision, if you're going to complain that I'm in school, if you're going to complain that I'm working, if you can't handle being on my team member, knowing like, hey, I need you to step up a little bit, then I got to remove you from my table for this season of my life because I only need people who align with my vision. And watch this, my vision aligns with theirs. It is a win-win situation. And so it's never me saying, hey, you know what, John, I can't work with you no more. I don't like you no more. No, it is the vision is saying this person has to go. And the vision is saying we need this person at the table. I am back in school. I need people who've been to school before back on my table, helping me learn how to read better, study better, write better, think better, right? I need people at my table who can honestly help my business run without me always doing it. I need a woman at my table who can understand that, hey, I may not be able to give you a lot of time for this particular year, but if you ride this wave with me, it's going to be fruitful for you, especially after I graduate, because now look at it, I'm more educated, I have more experience. It's going to create more opportunities. More opportunities create more funding and more resources, financial resources for this family. And so what I tell people is, you cannot make a clear decision who needs to be in your life, who needs to be out of your life without you knowing exactly where you're going. Because then what happens is you're making that decision based on, do I like her or him? Or are they cool? No. It needs to be, are we aligned? And when we are aligned, the vision itself will say, bring them or let them go.
You talk about other people at the table as well. I know that mentoring now is hard. Everybody is, and by mentoring, I don't mean, well, I mean both. I mean, heck, mentoring somebody's hard, but getting a mentor's attention is difficult in this age where we've all got 5 million things that we're doing every single day, I feel like. How do you get those people at your table to actually be your, knights of the round table?
Man, I think for me, and you're talking about specifically like mentors or just people in general?
Well, I'm talking about, I think if somebody's going to be at your table anyway, there's got to be a little bit of a mentor aspect to that, isn't it? Or am I reading this wrong?
No, absolutely. I believe that there has to be three particular types of people at your table that's going to help you mentor. One is going to be a spiritual mentor. One's going to be an accountability partner, actually for a therapist, and also, watch this, an emotional coach. Now, here's what I talk about mentors. You're a mentor. I'm a mentor, but people listen to our podcast. So we can't sit at everyone's table, but we can have a presence at the table by simply listening to our podcast, reading our books, consuming our content, because we're coming from a genuine and a heartfelt perspective. And so for me, I have several mentors that do not have a physical seat at my table because I don't have direct relation with them. But I do listen to their stuff. I do read their books. I have mentors who are in their 90s who can't even talk no more, but I'm consuming and reading their books because I'm constantly growing. But now when we talk about this from a practical standpoint, you do need to have a spiritual mentor at your table, in my personal opinion. You do need to have a mentor who's been successful in some aspect of your life. And if you can do that, this may be a pastor. This could be a someone from your local church, from your local community. You can say, hey, listen, I'm trying to do X, Y, Z. I just need someone to guide me through this, hold me accountable. But then you got to get a therapist and you got to get an emotional coach. Those are two things you can get today. You can Google that. But everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs an emotional coach, in my personal opinion, because I do not believe you can truly grow wealth. Now, you can be rich, but if your mind is not healthy, you can't sustain wealth.
How many people have we known that have violated that? They're like, no, and we all know them. You look and you're like, oh, I know this person's wealthy and miserable.
Yeah. No. I know a lot of people. Because I would say they're rich and miserable. I haven't met a lot of people who are wealthy and miserable.
No,
because wealth to me is so much more than money. Wealth is, man, peace, joy, abundance, happiness, money, right? Rich is, I just got a lot of money, but I don't have peace. I just got a lot of money, but I don't really have a family that I'm excited about. So for me, I don't know a lot of people who are wealthy and miserable, but I do know a lot of people who are rich and miserable. But what I've learned with the wealthy people is, one, they take a seat at the head of their own life. Two, they have the right therapist around them that's constantly helping them, medicine their head and their process and thinking. Three, watch this, wealthy people have the right partner in their life. As a single person, on the opposite side of the table, as a metaphor, there's an empty seat that will always be there that my wife will take reign over, and together we will partner together to build something of substantial. But every wealthy person that I've met, man, them and their partner are aligned, and it is absolutely refreshing and amazing. And I can't wait to be there.
I feel like then once you have that partner, the very next thing would be like a family mission statement.
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of built in, Anthony.
No, absolutely. One of the things that I'll be talking about, I'll talk a little bit about in this book, as far as in family members. In my next book next year, I'm really going to be talking about the importance of family meetings. I call those family board meetings. Mm-hmm. But every wealthy person that I've seen, and I'm pretty sure you see this in the financial planning world, is that wealthy families, they have family meetings. And watch this, the family meetings are not just, hey, to let you know what happens after someone dies. No, they take advantage of all the skills, resources, and tools that is inside their family today. And how do we build our wealth more today while we're living? And yes, how do we position that to be in great use after we're gone? But how can we maximize the time that we have right now? And I think that's important. And I can't wait to have kids. At 2 years old, they're going to understand family meetings. At 3 years old, they're going to understand money, and they're going to see things that they may not be able to comprehend. But by the time they turn 18, oh, that's what dad and mom was doing at the table. Oh, that's what we were doing when we was doing that. I'm teaching them before they can even start walking that you're going to take a seat at the head of your table. And that, yes, I'm your mom and dad, and it's not my job to take the seat at the head of your table. It is my job to train you in the way you should sit at the head of your table for your life moving forward. So, man, I get excited about this message, man.
I wish you had some passion. If you had some passion, you'd be the whole package. I thought you were going to say that by age 7, they would know how to drive so that you don't have to take them to school and wait in that line.
Hey, man, listen, we're going to have somebody. Because, that standing in that line, they told me, hey, these be at school at 8 o'clock. So I leave my house at 7:45.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And then I didn't know if they're not there on time, you got to go in and check them in. And I'm like,
yes.
No, I was here, but y'all had 150 cars.
Well, the judgmental mom with nothing better to do.
Right. And I'm like, what in the world?
Point at you, you horrible human being.
But here's what I saw that, and then they told me after, they said, well, if you know you're going to be late, what you want to do is just find somewhere to park and just walk them up there and walk back. It's just.
Or run.
But I was like, yeah, but you do know it's 40 degrees outside. So who wants to walk in 40 degrees? It's a learning experience. But you know what? I look forward to those days, believe it or not, man. Like, I really do look forward to those days.
It was so fun. I miss them so much. My kids are almost 30. I don't miss being a financial planner. I love being able to talk to lots of people and mentor them about their financial planning, which is why I love this project so much. Taking control at the start of 2025, thinking about what do I want? Not what does the boss want? What does everybody else want? But what do I want? Not from 2025, just from my life. Your new project on this is called Take Your Seat at the Table. It is available tomorrow. Live an authentic life of abundance, wellness, and freedom. And I got to assume, Anthony, it's available everywhere.
It is available everywhere. All your bookstores, man. We've sold thousands of pre-sale copies. And man, Joe, what we're doing, if they purchase this book with your link, we're going to give them $2,000 worth of extra bonuses, even out tomorrow. So we're going to give them a free study guide if they get it through your link. So it comes with a study guide where they can really write through with their spouse, with their partner, accountability partner. We're going to give them some free courses to help them start out 2025 well. So it's going to be absolutely amazing, man. I'm excited about it. But they got to click your link to get it so that we can know that they came from your site.
Deal. We will have the link a little later in the show. Anthony O'Neill, good to see you again, man.
Hey, thank you, man, so much for having me.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and today is a huge day in world history. Why, you ask? Well, it's the anniversary of the first time an ejection seat was used in an aircraft. Naturally, I thought today would be a great day to test one right here in Joe's mom's basement. But she quickly shot that idea down, muttering something about messing up her ceiling and insurance not covering Doug-related disasters. That lady's a buzzkill. So instead of ejecting myself into podcasting history, let's focus on another historic figure who could be considered the spiritual mentor of this show, Horatio Alger. I know you saw that coming, right? Born on this day, Alger wrote those rags to riches novels about Americans pulling themselves up by their bootstraps and, as I always thought, getting into a healthy amount of credit card debt. Wait, what? Joe, I'm recording. Oh, that's not what he emphasized? All right, okay, fine. My bad. Anyway, speaking of pulling yourself up and standing out, another American icon launched into pop culture this week back in 1974. The Fonz. You know, leather jacket, slick back hair, too cool for school. He was the king of clashing hilariously with older folks and definitely didn't need Horatio Alger's advice. He had his own motorcycle, after all. So here's the question. On what Benjamin Stacking super popular TV show did the Fonz make his debut? I'll be back with your answer right after I see if Joe's mom will let me use the ejection seat to get out of doing her grocery run. Fingers crossed.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen. Listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Guy with the exit plan and slicked back hair admirer, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. All right, it's time for the big reveal. The Fonz made his debut on a show that didn't just capture hearts, it captured wallets. This series was a money-making machine, dominating the ratings and stacking enough Benjamins to make even Horatio Alger a little jealous. Merchandise? Check. Spin-offs? Oh, we're talking Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and even the blink and you'll miss it, Joni Loves Chachi. God, that show was awesome. They turned nostalgia for the 1950s into a full-blown empire. And yet, let's not forget, this show taught us some valuable lessons, like a confidence can fix anything, even a jukebox, and that leather jackets are apparently recession-proof investments. That's what I keep telling myself. Meanwhile, I was down here trying to channel my inner Fonz with Joe's mom's hot water heater. Spoiler alert, these things don't fix themselves with a cool "ay" and a well-placed smack. Oh, and speaking of fixing things, I'm still holding out hope for that ejector seat test. Sure, Joe's mom isn't thrilled about me turning her ceiling into a launch pad, but I say, what's the basement for if not groundbreaking experiments? Literally, in this case, groundbreaking. Am I right? I mean, come on. Anyway, back to business. So what was the name of this Benjamin stacking, spin-off, spawning, motorcycle riding, Fonz-fueled show? Happy Days! Hey! And now, I think I nailed it.
Maybe overdid it a little.
Hey! And now, two guys ejecting money tips at the speed of sound, Joe and OG.
You got to try that at the Sizzler and scare the waitstaff with that. Hey!
What I want to do is my jukebox fix on Todd's forehead.
Can you believe that that was Henry Winkler all those years ago? And
Mr. Reverse Mortgage? Is he a reverse mortgage guy?
He is a reverse mortgage guy.
Yeah.
I loved him on Bernie, Arrested Development, like all the things that guy, just an amazing actor.
He's a really good comedic actor. He's been a bunch of other things too.
I've heard from people that know him too. I actually know people who know him and talk about just what a wonderful. Yeah, I know people who know people, Doug.
I can get to the Fonz if I need to.
I don't think I can. We actually tried once last year and they're like, yeah, I don't think I can do that for you. But it would be fun to have Henry Winkler on the show at some point. If you know Henry Winkler, stackers, tell him that we said hi and we're big fans. We'd love to talk to him. But Doug, I know when you talk about merchandise, Happy Days lunchbox. Like I was super young back then, but I think everybody had a Happy Days lunchbox.
Or wanted one, like me, coveted the Happy Days lunchbox, couldn't get parents to pull the trigger.
Oh, so sad being born into the wrong family.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, some people have first world problems. That's a real problem in America right there.
Practically destitute. Had the hand-me-down monkeys lunchbox for my older brother. The thermos was broken. It sucked.
Let's talk about a headline.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's headlines.
Our headline comes to us from Business Insider. And OG, we've got some predictions here for 2025. Bill Gates, Sam Altman, other tech leaders share their predictions for 2025. Technology, if you think during our entire life, becoming more and more just integrated into what we do every day. And I think it's even becoming more and more integrated into our money situation, especially when it comes to earning money. I remember we were talking to downtown Josh Brown from CNBC last year, and he was talking about, the robots. Everybody's worried that the robots are coming for our jobs.
The robots are coming.
Yeah. So I clicked this wondering if that is going to be the case, according to Gates and Altman. And here's what they came up with, OG. AI's significant impact on workforce and tech use will continue in 2025. That doesn't surprise anybody. Shifts in work dynamics, including the introduction of AI agents, could be on the horizon. Now, I'm sure there's some people who work in the tech world that have heard about AI agents a ton. I'm not one of those people. I may have seen it in passing a few times. Doug, I know that you were in the tech field. Have you heard that term often, AI agents?
Yeah, absolutely. AI agents, of course.
Sam, glad you defined that.
You just asked me if I'd heard of them. Yes. I was in the tech field. Yes, I've heard of AI agents.
Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, of course, people who don't know OpenAI, they're the company that runs ChatGPT, said in a blog post that AI agents could join the workforce this year and, quote, OG, materially change the output of companies. Since generative AI became a more mainstream concept, concerns about job security have risen among workers. Agentic AI, which requires Gen AI to work, is the technology that AI companies say could work alongside their employees as digital coworkers. So it could be on the podcast here, OG, you, Doug, me, and a couple digital coworkers working side by side with us in the future. How about that? The future is now.
That would be great for me. And then I can take Mondays off.
You're already working as a consumer. You're already probably working with AI agents, but just not vocally. It takes generative AI to be more convincing and create that human voice interaction that you might get if you called in on the phone. But anytime you try to do a chat for customer support, pick a big company, they're going to start you out on an AI agent first. And then if they can't answer your question, then you can sort of, just like you would on the phone, screaming into the phone, Representative,
rep 0.
God damn it, I want a representative. You do that in chat, but it's coming vocally.
I think this is an important headline today, though, because with Anthony O'Neill talking about taking control, I think part of OG taking control yourself is looking at what could be coming in my industry, what could be changing about my life, whether I wanted to. There was a really seminal book back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, Who Moved My Cheese, where the cheese is moving, not just at the start of the year. The cheese has been moving, whether it turns 2025 or not. You just got to acknowledge that the cheese is moving, and what do I need to do to keep pace?
Well, I think the reality is, sounds really silly to say, but the only constant is that change. And I think what's really interesting is the rate of change. I was reading an article, and it was a Gen Xer who was basically lamenting the fact that he felt since he was not keeping up with AI, he was losing ground. He's like, this is what I felt like in college when my friends were talking about Bluetooth and Google. And I was like, wait, what's Google and Bluetooth? Like, what are these things? And he's like, it took me too long to kind of latch onto that. And now I feel like AI is this next thing that, I'm 50 and I feel like I'm behind already. And to Doug's point, you're probably not behind. It's being used in applications you're maybe not even aware of. I think the bigger issue is the nefarious uses of it. And for people that are not, thinking about how this could be used for bad things. We had that notebook LM thing a couple of weeks or months ago. We talked about it, that you could take a book and turn it into a podcast, and it sounds like real people, and there's enough content for Joe, for you, or for me, or for Doug, that somebody somewhere could very easily take our personalities and turn it into something nefarious. And not having a way to protect that, I think, that's the concern that I have about technology.
Well, we just had the Golden Globes a couple of weeks ago, and a movie that was mentioned around the Golden Globes, I don't recall if it actually won an award, was Thelma, which is a story about an older woman who has her identity stolen. And the chance of not just older Americans, but anybody getting their identity stolen it's becoming easier than ever, I think, with all the tools.
We all know somebody who's had some financial fraud due to technology or due to identity theft or whatever.
Let's talk about this role of fear, though. Fear that something nefarious is happening to us, or fear that I'm not keeping up with AI, that I don't know enough, and maybe my job is in jeopardy. In a financial plan, part of your financial plan is risk management. And I think to some degree, OG, it can clearly be insidious and be harmful to you. But I think there is a healthy amount of fear, don't you think? Where being a little bit afraid that maybe I'm behind about AI, maybe I need to know a little more. That's not a bad fear. And acting on that fear to get, quote, caught up when I don't think you're truly that far behind right now is a wonderful thing to feel.
Yeah. I mean, I guess ultimately anything that moves you positively in a good direction is probably a good thing. Tension is a good thing until it's not. There's productive tension. Doug disagrees with that, but there's productive tension, and it's like when you're just fat enough that you need to go to the gym, but not too fat to recognize that it's going to really hurt when you go to the gym. It's just to force you to not go to the gym.
No, I don't disagree with it. I think that whenever I hear that phrase in all of its many forms, X is great until it's not. It just feels trite to me because the problem is we don't see the it's not until it's too late. So the goal is figure it out just before that point, or, even before that, so that we're like, holy crap, what happened? How did I get this fat? I just don't love that phrase, but I mean, the notion behind it is fine.
I mean, when it comes to technology, the best thing that you can do is just play around with it. OpenAI is free for some uses. Copilot is free for some uses. Like there's no harm in messing around with it. Although I will tell you the other day that I saw this thing that was going on Reddit about ChatGPT, and super confident, and it's also confident in being incorrect. And it was a math problem that was like super easy, and it was 1000% confident, but it was 1000% wrong. And it even explained why it was wrong, and then still got the wrong answer. And I can't remember what it was. It was something like, is 3/8 bigger than 5/16? And it was like, no, 16 is bigger than 8. Therefore, 5/16 is bigger than 3/8.
The old quarter pounder, third of a pounder.
This is a fraction. This is a third grader would be able to calculate this to like figure it out and simplify this to see which one is better.
Well, and I think that should give us all confidence, right? I mean, you're not too far behind right now. No, when you see the AI is very confidently messing stuff up, you're not too far behind. Just get on and play with it.
It's like a normal person, just very confidently messing things up.
I love what Sam Altman at OpenAI says. His quote is, "We continue to believe that iteratively putting great tools in the hands of people leads to great, broadly distributed outcomes." I love this because I know so many people, OG, that are afraid for their jobs. They're afraid that the worst is coming. And when you think about it as a tool, right, then you're doing exactly what Anthony O'Neill said today. I'm in charge. I'm at the head of my table. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use these AI tools to get ahead faster. Josh Brown said it on the show. He said the key to not being afraid of the robot is to own the robot. And even if you don't have the money to go buy yourself a robot or buy some ChatGPT, I think owning the robot is a confidence thing. I own it because I know that it's not going to be right all the time. I own it because I know where I want to plug it in to help myself either be more productive, get more time off, whatever it might be. I can, quote, own it because I own my time the same way that Anthony O'Neill says we just need to own our destiny. This year, this piece also says, will also reveal whether one of Bill Gates' longtime predictions will come to fruition. I think this is another big point, guys. Gates has said on many occasions, 2/3 of all jobs in the U.S. will require some form of education beyond high school by 2025. He said that for a long time. That's been his prediction.
2/3?
I don't know that 2025 is going to be the year, but I think if you don't hear that first, and then go back to Alex Harmozy at the beginning of the year, OG, and go, don't worry about a college diploma. Worry about creating and designing a curriculum that serves your life. That's where you're going to need to go. And that will be beyond high school. It's going to be, whatever type of training serves you best.
But it doesn't have to be college.
Doesn't have to be. No.
I was thinking about this technology thing with somebody the other day. Like all these tech companies have certification programs in their ecosphere, right? Like you can be Google certified, Microsoft certified, whatever. And they will run these trainings and you graduate with after 6 months of like learning their system, and they've got this workforce that they're building that's really productive with their thing. I'm sure it helps to have some sort of tech background, or at least be able to understand it, but there's no requirement that you come in with a bachelor's degree, in computer science to work at Google. If you want to go that direction, there's a path for that doesn't include $100,000 of student loan debt.
Well, my son is does coding with Microsoft.
Yeah.
And the first thing that they do is they give you a test to see if you know coding. Don't really care, OG, to your point, where you learned it. It's really the value of how can you think? How can you get this done? Certainly the recruiter is going to be attached to the sheet of paper that says, hey, this university, show me the credentials. But we've heard lots of stories that point directly to what you're talking about. We're going to link more to this in our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Head there. And of course, we've also got the 201, which comes out tomorrow. stackingbenjamins.com/201. If you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, that is our newsletter. Comes out once a week. It is free. And even if you happen to miss the show and you want to come back later and catch up with us on the podcast, every Tuesday we'll deliver to your email address a free newsletter going over a bunch of curated links, the best of the internet on the topics we talk about here on Stacking Benjamins. And the rubric we talked about, the kind of the method behind the madness, you'll see on the 201. All right, that's going to mostly do it for today. Let's wander out to the back porch. Doug, what do we got today on the back porch of this here podcast?
A couple of things, Joe, but I think I want to start out with last time we talked about this, we discovered that we had a member of the Detroit Lions wide receiving corps who was giving us a 5-star review.
Of course.
And apparently we're spreading like wildfire through the NFL because now we have a Bills defensive back.
Oh,
I mean, the username is Bill SDB. I can only translate that to Bills DB. So I'm trying to track it down, but I think it might be Joe Andreessen, possibly Rasul Douglas. But here's what they say. I don't agree with everything that's suggested, but I love this show! ! A good mix of comedy and real life money strategies.
Love that.
Yeah, you like it when people disagree with stuff we talk about.
Well, I do. Know that. I just like it that we make you think, right? I mean, our job is to bring up this stuff that we feel like is relevant. And what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with making more money? What are you going to do with being more frugal? What are you going to do with taking a seat at the table? How are you going to do that? If we can make you think more about that, even if you disagree with our take, wonderful. Love that.
Well, in the hopefully the positive outcome of the disagreement in the listener's own mind is that's stupid. I'm not doing that. Here's what I'm going to do. At least you've then made a plan for yourself and something that you can follow if it makes you think that objectively about it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it should have a positive outcome.
No, and to your point, Doug, it's not what you know, right? It's what you do. It is 100% what you do, not at all what you know. So love that. Thank you for that review. By the way, feel free to email me with this stuff. People that know me know that I will bore you to tears talking about this stuff. And Cheryl will be very happy. Oh, please, God, email Joe and talk to him about it so he doesn't talk to me about it so much. That would be great. It's awesome.
And you'll probably get more of what you want if you email than if you send the flaming review first. and here's my experience with that. This is not a joke. I got a Christmas gift from an Etsy, from Mrs. Neighbor Doug, but she got it off Etsy and it was not a great product. In fact, it was a really bad product. I sent the person an email first saying, before I leave a review, I thought I'd reach out to you and say, here are the things that I have issue with. And they immediately refunded the money 100% and then offered to send me a free new pair.
Oh, that's cool.
Of these mittens. And I think, that was more effective than just going out on Etsy and leaving a review saying how much these supposedly real sheepskin mittens, they were so far from being real.
These real fake sheepskin.
Oh yeah. Anyway, it's pretty effective to send the direct email with stuff you're not happy about. Joe, let's talk about where you're traveling soon.
You guys want to come to Seattle with me? Why don't you guys come to Seattle?
No.
Wow. That was quick.
Actually, I think Doug and I are going to go skiing while you're in Seattle. Why don't you come skiing with us?
Well, because we got a bunch of stackers in Seattle that want to do.
Bet you we get a bunch of stackers that wanted to go skiing.
Well, you guys have a skiing meetup wherever you're going to go skiing, and I will have another meetup. We could be two different places.
We should do that.
We'll announce where Doug and OG are going skiing. And Thursday the 6th, I can tell you, we're going to have a Stacking Benjamins meetup. I don't know where it is yet. Tina and I are working on that right now. But block off your calendar, stackers. If you're in the greater Seattle, Tacoma area, we'd love to come down from Vancouver, wherever you're at in the area. Come join us for maybe some of your favorite foamy beverage or non-foamy beverage and some great geekery. February 8th, I'm going to appear at Retire Meet, an all-day seminar, man. Paul Merriman's going to be speaking there. Your friend Apollo, I want to say Apollo Creed, but that's not Apollo's last name.
Different guy.
What's Apollo's last name, OG?
Lepescu.
Yeah. Apollo Lepescu from Dimensional Funds is going to be there. He's been on the podcast as well. Of course, our friends, Don McDonald and Tom Cock, who are just most gracious host of the Talking Real Money Show. Put on that retiremeet.com to get your tickets, put Stacking Benjamins in the little promo code. And Tom has assured me you'll even get a discount if there's seats left. I talked to him yesterday. They're selling quickly, but, and they sell out every year. But if you can come to Retire Meet, like I've heard a couple of you already tell me that you're coming, can't wait to see you either on Thursday or Saturday or both when I'm in Seattle. Last thing I had, Doug, was that the book club ship is going to be sailing here fairly soon. What's the book club? It's where we go through my book Stacked, and we take it lesson by lesson with a small group of people. We got great reviews on the book club last year, our first group to go through it. If you go to stackingbenjamins.com/book club, you'll find out more there if you'd like to work on understanding your money a lot better, more thoroughly, following all the tenets of good financial planning and how it works. It's stackingbenjamins.com/book club.
I know that's going really well and people have raved about it, but when you first started that sentence, I heard a different letter when you said the book club ship. I'm like, why is he harshing on this? I think it's pretty cool. Like, people like it.
That ship, it's a whole different thing. Well, thank you to everybody for lending us your ears today. We always want to make this well worth your time. And certainly I thought Anthony O'Neill brought it today. But Doug, you've got the list, man. What were our big things that should be on our to-do list now that we heard the Monday edition of the Stacking Benjamin Show?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from Anthony O'Neill. Not sure about your to-do list? If your priorities aren't listed, someone else's are dominating. Start with what you want and grab your seat at the head of your table. Second, technology's impact in your life? If you haven't already, 2025 is the year to study tech and figure out how you're going to control it so IT doesn't control you. See what I did there? But the big lesson? If you're trying to create your own destiny, remember, the Fonz may have started with a leather jacket, but he never had to share a table with Joe's mom. She's now 100% convinced an ejection seat would be the perfect way to speed up dessert time at dinner. There goes a pie. Hey! I'm just going to say, hey, whenever I can. It's the best exclamation point at the end of a sentence. Get ready. Neighbor Doug 2025. Hey! Thanks to Anthony O'Neill for joining us today. You'll find his new book, Take Your Seat at the Table, wherever books are sold. You know what? I'll also include links in the show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Hey! This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.
Doug, we promised last week that we're going to talk movies and TV shows. I certainly have watched a couple things that I'd like to dive into, but let's do it, man. Oh, gee, do you watch anything over the holidays? Anything good?
I'm almost through. The final episode of Landman is, I think, this weekend. So I'll finish that.
But you love that series.
Love is a strong word.
Well, this is one of the few series, though, that you've told me about 3 times. Have I told you about Landman?
It's just got a lot of good one-liners. It's like Bad Santa, but in West Texas. So if you liked Bad Santa in terms of like all the one-liners that Billy Bob Thornton has, then you might like this. There's some really stupid storylines. I started watching The Agency. So I'm on this Paramount Plus kick because basically all the Taylor Sheridan stuff's on Paramount Plus. They give you 2 free episodes on YouTube TV, and then you got to subscribe. But they had a special for $2.99 to subscribe for 3 months. So I'm trying to get through all that. Agency has got a ton of actors in it. Richard Gere is one of the main guys. There's 2 other main people that both of you guys would recognize. I can't picture. I can picture him, but I can't. Michael Fassbender, I think.
I haven't seen him in something forever. What a great actor.
Anyways, I got through the first 2 episodes. The first episode is really setting the stage. It's a very slow burn. And then the second episode starts.
What happens? What's the plot line? What's going on?
It starts out with this guy who is, so it's about the CIA, about,
okay.
So
that's the agency they're talking about. It's the CIA.
Yeah. The agency is the CIA. They're in Europe and London. And it starts out with him being sent home from wherever he was in Africa. And he has a love interest at the very beginning where it's very clear that he's lying to the agency about how that ended. Yeah. And then just all this other stuff is spinning up, right? Where it's like, well, how did this guy get hauled into a jail? Oh, he's an operative. Now we have to try to find him. It's not like a shoot 'em up type of show like Lioness was. It's definitely more of a thinking one. It would be along the lines of like Slow Horses, if that was kind of your jam. Like it's just more cerebral of what's going on behind the scenes than it is.
I still got to dive into that. I've got such a backlog right now.
I didn't like Slow Horses at all, mostly because it was too slow. But in the second episode, there's a little bit of a gunfight where some stuff is coming to a head. But anyway, so I'm watching that.
While you're in Paramount Plus, make sure you watch The Offer about the making of The Godfather. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, that's right. You talked about that quite a bit a while ago. I did want to see that.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Doug, you've got a bunch that you were watching.
Well, when we weren't watching football, because it seems like every year football, just,
Excellent.
goes onto every day of the week during the holidays. So there was a lot of football watching.
And now for 2 weeks beyond the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining, but it just ate into the time that we were watching other movies and shows. But we did squeeze in a few, one of which I went back and watched Sexy Beast from the year 2000.
Documentary about me.
Oh, gee.
Okay. How did I not see that coming? I need more coffee. No, Sexy Beast is a British mob movie, British crime, which has it's like its own genre, right? That whole British mafia, they have a similar tone to them, a similar pace. And this is not a Guy Ritchie movie, but it led Ben Kingsley to an Oscar nomination.
Wow.
And he is terrifying in this movie. And he's not in every scene. He's in a lot of scenes, but he's not in every scene, but he just takes over the movie because he is terrifying. And it's cool. It's, like I said, a British crime movie. Has a little flavor if you like Guy Ritchie stuff, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch.
All those Guy Ritchie movies.
So good. So good. It has that with a little less humor to it. So we watched that. Speaking of Guy Ritchie, we watched The Gentleman, movie.
Oh, the movie.
On this show, we talked about the show.
TV show, sure.
I love the limited series, The Gentleman. Thought it was hilarious. That's a Guy Ritchie produced show, sort of very similar to The Gentleman, but just goes in more depth. There's a lot more humor in it. And so I liked the show better than the movie, but I just felt like I needed to see the OG. See what I did
I would agree with that because I saw the movie when it came out in the theater, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine.
The show was better.
Yeah.
Here's one that people should run away from if they haven't already. Carry On.
Run from.
Run Away from Carry On
Really?
with Jason Bateman. Oh my God. did it
Everything
suck.
I've seen about this is how good it is.
So bad, dude.
Are you wrong about another series, Doug?
It's not a series. It's a movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
Jason Bateman should have never been in this. And even if you, and Taryn Asher.
Egerton.
Taryn Egerton. Taryn Asher is a newscaster in Detroit. She would have been great in it too, but
she could have improved this.
Right. And yeah, probably. Carry On so bad. There's so many plot holes in it. It's hilarious. Spent some time with Homestead Rescue. Got pulled into that more than I thought I would.
Homestead Rescue sounds like a low budget computer game.
It's the same format as so many other reality shows, but there are people out there who are trying to go off the grid, trying to, raise their own chickens and sheep and have solar power, and they're homesteaders. And this is a dad and his two kids, grown kids, they're in their 20s or 30s, but who will come to your homestead and help you get stuff under control, figure out how do you, get better shelter for your livestock. And it's surprisingly engaging, mostly because the dad is just a crazy character. But
it is so funny how much I love those types of shows. All the restaurant rescue shows.
It's the same format.
I love the hotel one with the bald guy.
Yeah.
Saving
bar rescue.
Oh, the bar rescue one.
But here's a show we really are liking. The last one I'll bring up today is that we're into quite a bit. And I would say it's not a 10 out of 10, but it's a solid 8 out of 10. It's called The Madness on Netflix. It's a CNN contributor. He's a TV personality who gets framed for a very serious crime. And it's him trying to get himself unframed.
Wait, documentary?
No. It's not a documentary. Did I say that?
This is all fiction. Well, when you said it was a CNN contributor, I was like, oh.
Oh, that's his character. Character.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry.
And there's a lot of action in this. OG, you might like this. There's a decent amount of action in the show. People lose their lives. I know you enjoy that.
Okay.
Like the harsh reality of the consequences of your decisions.
Oh, geez, about to test out your ejector seat. right now.
But the madness is solid. It's the plot's pretty good. You've got to always suspend some amount of belief in a lot of these shows, but it's exciting. It's well thought out. And the only actor that I recognize in it is I think he shows up in like episode 3. It's Bradley Whitford from West Wing. I think is his most. He was in West Wing and he was in oh my gosh, what's the dystopian show? The Handmaid's Tale. He was in that too.
Wow. Well, we filled your queue, Stackers.
Yep.
There you go. You're welcome.